Hello everybody! Today we're going to see how I draw Endeavor from My Hero Academia. Okay, pencils first and then Sharpies. So if you don't want to watch the pencil portion of the video where I sketch the entire thing out, look in the description and you'll find a link that you can click on that will take you to the Sharpie portion of the video. I'll even include one for color. But for those of you that are going to stick around, I'm going to start off with a quick sketch for myself and get us going. So this guy is full of fire, huh? Alright. So, got to make him a little smaller to fit in with the fire and all the, the cool stuff there. But it'll be cool. It'll be awesome. Let's see. So, like Hulk, like who's the other one? Wreck-It Ralph. All those guys that are huge and bulky. I'm gonna put him in just a standing, hands out position. That just seems tougher to me, Big tough guy. Okay, so we'll raise one hand up like that. We'll put the other one a little bit lower. There we go. There we go. Let's do that. Yeah, so it's always good to plan out your, what you're gonna do. And I mean, you kind of need to. Well, you don't need to. If you can just sketch straight from your line, just go down and start creating, hey, go for it. Some people are out there. Some people can do that. Some people can read sheet music. I mean, there's certain people that have skills that go for it. You do what you do. Me, no, I can't. So I got to sketch, and that's okay because it's a way of planning. Oops, that's a little too big there. But yeah, so I got to plan out everything I'm gonna do, and that way I'm more confident with what I'm doing. Let's see, does he have a belt? He got something. It's all dark there. Okay. Oh, he's got a little juice pack container where he keeps his snacky treats, right? Okay. Let's see. So I gotta give him some big bulky muscles. Apparently he's got huge, gigantic, bulky leg definition here. And then the flamey pants. And this is where we're gonna get creative and you can do whatever you want, I'm gonna go for, very, very flamey fire look. But obviously, because it's flamey fire, you get to make it up. It's whatever you want it to be. Okay, it's looking good. Mine's coming out pretty good. Are you sketching? Are you doing it too? Are you following along? Probably not. Nobody usually watches this part, but that's okay. I'm happy that anybody watches any part, so I'm fine with that. Alright. This is working out pretty good. Let's see. So now I gotta come up with the face. Let me draw some muscles here, finish up this arm, and then I can concentrate on what we're gonna do to his head, his big old fire head, right? Let's see how many. 1, 2. Need a third one down here to close it off like that. All right. Okay. So let me give him a fist real fast. we're just going to do a typical hand up fist, I guess, because he's, you know, in fighting mode, so to speak. And let's see. Okay, so now let me just sketch something out for his head real fast. And this is where it's going to be a little tricky. I mean, the whole thing is going to be tricky, right? With the flames and the funness. Let's see. Okay, all right. But okay. So also, this is what I was saying during it in the sketch part, is that because it's, you know, flames shooting out of his face, his head, and whatnot, you know, because this is not in so many words, it's not real. You know, I mean, you get to create whatever you want. You know, that's where I'm trying to go with that, is no one can tell you you're wrong. So that's kind of the fun part, is we get to make up whatever we want. Now, we still have to, you know, stick with the proportions and whatnot, but we're going to just go crazy, you know. So what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of making crazy hair, and I figure that will kind of work as a fire mustache or fire beard, you know, whatever you want to call it. And then, you know, color is pretty much going to determine that it's fire. Okay. And so, yeah, so like I said, I'm just going to do this and make, you know, this crazy looking stuff to it, and you can follow along and make it your own. Okay, I think that's going to work. I think I am ready. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Awesome. Okay, so let me erase some of these sketch lines, because all we really need are the confidence lines, because I'm going to switch over to the Sharpie. I really don't need this pencil lines. If you're working with pencil, you stick with it. You keep going. You just get darker. Me, I want my Sharpie to stand out. So I'm going to just make me something to follow with my Sharpie that's very faint and light and won't stand out. Because I want my Sharpie to stand out. Alright, I think that'll do right there. It might have been too much, but that's okay. Let's go. Let's welcome everybody that jumped. Welcome, skippers. Welcome to the Sharpie portion of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I do a different drawing every day. You can join along and have some fun. I'm going to be using a Sharpie fine point and a Sharpie pen, mostly the fine point, but the pen's a little finer than the fine point and can find the things that fine point can't quite find. So I've sketched the entire thing out, and I've erased a majority of it, but I've got a faint ghost of an image that I could use to draw off of. So I'm going to start off with my Sharpie pen, because I can control the line widths much better, and I'm going to go for the details in the face, and all the fire I'm going to do with the lighter pen, because I want it light, I want it faint, and then color will take care of the rest. But I want the hard edges, like the edges of the body, I'll do that with the fine point, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to draw the eyes. I'm just going to pop them in right here. I'm going to do the top parts first, just to make sure I've got them where I want it. Make sure I've got it angled right, and it looks good to me. So I'm going to draw the iris. That, yeah, works. And that's mostly what I'm doing, is just to make sure that it's in the place that I want it to be. Okay, and with these Sharpies, I can add a little bit of a pupil, but they bleed, so I'm just going to dab it a little bit to put something in there. Now, normally I don't draw the underside of the eye, but because it's basically engulfed in fire, I guess I'm going to have to do something. So I'm going to go ahead and put that line in real faint, like that. There you go. See, I don't want it to bleed into each other. That's why I don't like to put it in there, because where I'm drawing it's so tiny, I don't want to bleed into itself. So let's give him some angry brows like that too. Okay, so I've talked about this in the sketch that basically his hair, the fire, all that stuff, we're making it up as we go. And so don't feel like you have to draw the exact lines I'm doing, but I'm just kind of showing you. I just kind of sketched out like a look of flames and fire, and no one can tell you you're wrong, you know, so don't feel that it's perfect, exact, or wrong, because like I said, you're basically making fire, and this is not something that's real, so no one can tell you that's not how fire looks on a face. Hey, you know what? That's okay, because you're making this up. This is how I draw. You draw how you draw. We'll meet somewhere in between and just have a good time. So see, I'm just kind of making up what I imagine fire would look like on his face. And then color is really going to take care of a lot of it. Color is really going to define what the edge is. But I also want to do it with this smaller Sharpie because I don't want it to stand out as much. I've talked about this in other tutorials that Sharpies are such a hard edge. It's hard to keep them subtle, you know. Okay, so for his nose, I'm just going to come down here like this. Gonna give him a couple of nostrils. I'll go ahead and define these edges like that, and then draw his little beardy, flamey mustache. And so same thing. It's just going to look like a crazy old mustache, and color is really going to define the rest of it. Let's give him an angry mouth. Bottom lip like that. Now, this part is pretty much a beard, but it's just, you know, kind of all out there for the flames. So let's see. Let me define a few things here. So there's like his ear. There's the side of his face coming down. There's that ear right there. Side of his face coming down. Then that'll help me decide where I'm going to take this fire. So I'm just going to start right here in the middle. Just kind of do that. Okay. And so see, it does look like a strange, just a beard, just a scraggly old beard hanging out, you know. There we go. All right. So if you see what I was doing here is I was making these edges a little thicker because for his hair and for the other parts of his body, I want them to be bolder. So like I said, the flames is what I want nice and subtle. So I'm just gonna come back in here, like here's his hair. That. I'm going to add some extra hair lines, like it's hair, so it's going to have, you know, lines out. And then, again, color will take care of a lot of that, but a lot of this is back behind the fire, so there's nothing we can do anyway, you know. Let me add some real points to that. That's kind of the downside to a sharp edge Sharpie. This fine point, not very fine. It's made for bigger things than something as tiny as this. So, I'm going to... okay, so you're going to have to bear with me here because, again, because we're doing the flames in like a thinner fire, I'm just going to have to float a few things first and then we're going to come back. Okay, so for his shoulders, I'm just going to start at the point right here and just kind of come up where the flames are going to be. And again, I'm kind of making it up, following my sketch, but you know, don't flip out if yours isn't exactly like this. Mine's like this for a reason. I sketched it out. Okay, and the flame, the line goes into his body. So I've got his arm up, so I'm just kind of drawing the little stripe that goes over, and then I'll continue back to the flame. Okay, so same thing here. This one's going to go over to the side, and I'll go ahead and draw that edge. So it's kind of like the piping on his material on his shirt, but here it's like it's not flame anymore. It's just like the design. Then it goes back into the flame. So same thing for that arm. It's going to come, but the other side is it's on the back side of the arm that we can't see in this drawing. So there's only so much we can put in, but I'm still going to do it for the design. All right. Okay. Oops, didn't want to do that. Let's see, I made a mistake too. No big deal. Alright. Ooh, let's do a big lick of flame. Jumping out like that. Okay, so again, I'm going to do all that with color, take care of that with, you know, some finesse. So that's all I got to worry about there. So, let's see, his neck's going to come in here, and there's his shoulder. But again, it's underneath the flame, so there's only so much we can see. And that's why I'm going to stop right there. He does have a collar. Let's go ahead and put that in real fast. But that's all we can see. We'll go ahead and draw an edge like that. Alright, so now I can use this to define the harder edges that aren't fire, basically. So let's go ahead and draw this arm here. So I'm going to have this muscle up like that. Then this arm is, there's the wrist. I want to do that first so I can draw this little gauntlet that he has in front of his arm here. And so the bend in his arm is like that, down to his elbow like this. And so let's see, there's his chest over to his arm like that. I'll add some definition in there in a second. And we'll draw his hand, and his hand is just up in a fist. He's got a little back design on the back of his fist. So here's his pinky. And that's in front of everything else, so that's all you're really going to see. You can see his thumb, but that's it for the fingers. So the other fingers are kind of back behind, like that. Okay? So I'm going to come back with a smaller Sharpie. I'm going to define a few things here because my hand is a little shaky. And wanted to smooth it out a little bit. And there's a like a design in this gauntlet that I wanted to do with the small Sharpie here, subtle. So it's got his own defined look like that. Okay, so let's draw some detail here. So I'm going to draw, let's see, his shoulder up like this. And basically drawing a bunch of creases and folds to where his shirt is wrinkled. Okay, let's go ahead and put a defining edge there, make it a little thicker. Alright, cool. Alright, so I'm going to work the other way, and I'm going to work on the other arm. So same thing, his shoulder, you can see his muscle here, and it's in front of his ribs, so it's going to come down here to this part, and we're going to draw this, but more at an angle, pointed at you. So I can draw the bicep there. So I'm going to go ahead and draw the fist first so you can see where we are. And it's kind of pointed at you. So I'll define it again in a second. And there's his underside and basically the thumb. And then we'll define some edges here too. Make it stand out. something like that. Okay. I like to come in with my smaller Sharpie to define and clean stuff up. Alright, that hand got a little chunky there. A little chonky. That's okay. So I'm going to draw his little slots, but because they're at a different angle, you can only see so much of them. Like that. Alright, so again, I'm going to define a little bit of musculature there and creases and folds. Okay. So now I'm going to draw his pants down to his flamey legs, right? So I'm going to draw the rest of his ribs down to his waist, like that. Oops, I'm trying to clean that up. That's a shame. I was trying to keep that nice and thin, but I bumped it with my Sharpie. That's okay, because you know what? Things happen. There's his little juice pack. He's got a belt. It's hard to see in this picture if it's more than just a buckle and a belt, but that's what we're going to draw. Because I doubt anybody's going to come back and tell you, hey, there's a little more definition to that. That's supposed to have this and that and this. It's okay. There we go. Okay. So let's draw his legs, his big old muscular legs. So they're kind of big and beefy. So I'm going to come down here and really define it like that. I mean, huge, almost way too big. So come back to his knees, come out like that. Then they're going to tuck in right there because I'm going to have them like way too big for his legs. So he almost can't close his legs. You know, that's how too big I made them. All right. I'll add some definition in there in a second. Oh, you know what? Actually, we're moving over to the small Sharpie, so I can add that definition right now. So I'm gonna add some creases in his pants, and we'll just do like that. We'll say that's the knee. Okay, so now I'm going to do the flame. So I'm just going to do just like I did up there, but with the small Sharpie. So I'm going to start with the flame, the edge of his boot, like that. So I'm kind of following my design. So again, I'm not just drawing willy or nilly. This is very planned out. But I'm also going with the thinner Sharpie for the flame look. Sorry. I can't speak today. But I've said it before. I've said it many times again. I'm not a speaker. I'm a drawer. Okay, so same thing here. Just gonna define that edge. Come out with my boot design. Like that. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Oh, let's do that. Okay, so his soles, looking at it, they're defined. I don't know why, but the flame is like on top of the soles of his shoes. So we'll go ahead and make those thicker in a second. Okay. All right. So, and also he's got laces, so we'll go ahead and define those real fast. I'll go ahead and do that here real quick. And then it looks like, yeah, he's just got little X's for laces. Okay. Normally I don't draw laces, but the way they've got them, I kind of almost need to. Okay, so I'm going to draw his sole of his shoe like that. And so see what I'm saying? For some strange reason, the sole is not on fire, so I'm going to put that with the heavier Sharpie. So there you go. I say we take care of the rest with color. So that is Endeavor from My Hero Academia. So here is my colored version. You could do it however you like. I just thought I'd show you how I decided to color it. If you'd like to color it like this, you can always pause the video here and use the coloring techniques that I used, or you can just make it your own. Remember, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more adventures of how I draw. Plus, don't forget to hit that notification button to be updated about each new video.